Thank you. Uh, I'm live. I don't go live on here that much, so um, probably have no audience. But I will say, save this for later, um, so that you can come and you can check it out. Now, one of the things, like everything is kind of weird, and people are doing things against their own best interest. Also, they're doing things against their own better judgment, against knowledge, against wisdom, against everything, because of the fact that it is the end of the age. And so that's why so spiritual people, technically, we're not really all that concerned about like what's going on. And the reason why is because we understand that a lot of what's going on, it simply has to be. And it's not uh, something that's necessarily evil in and of itself. It's just how people handle the situation. And even within prophecy and within those different boundaries of what we see uh, prophetically, and we know that most of this stuff is probably real, um, because of the fact that everybody is kind of on the same wavelength, and no matter who you talk to or whatever, especially in terms of corporate prophecy or having a certain feeling. So mainly, and I have to go back to the Divine Mother. Mainly, it is the return of the feminine energy, and the Divine Mother. No matter what you want to say. So, excuse me. So we look at all of those things, and we say, you know, why do we make these things? Because we're coming to the end of the age, and you have to understand that the Earth, in terms of the universe, is also a living thing. The planets, all of the moon, the moons that go around the other planets and everything. It's a big, it's a big um, movement. It's like a clock or a watch, and it's a movement. And so these things are moving, and as these things move, and everything is in that sphere, right? As everything moves, then things are going to change. So that's why everybody can predict this or predict that, because we understand that Earth is living, it's alive. So like the rivers and the oceans and the streams and the tributaries and all of those type of things, for Earth, that's like your veins or whatever. But when you look at other things, and then you put them in the equation, then you know that things are going to change. Why? Because we are, and once again, I know people don't like when you say this, but we're stardust. So we are stardust. That's what we are. And because we are stardust, and we're made of the exact same things that the universe is made of. And this does not, it has nothing to do with color, has nothing to do with nothing but the fact of we're made up of the same stuff. It just is delivered to each person differently, because of DNA and whatever. Even within your same family or within the same bloodline or whatever, there's still differences in DNA. Just like that's how come, you can have, like I have a lot of children, and they're all different. They all look different. They all have different personalities. They take after one person, they take after another person. Things can be environmental, things can be generational, things can be um, incantational, things can be, so things can happen, and people can develop all different ways. But this is the one thing that I will say when it comes to all of that. The one thing that I will say is that if you are on the earth right now, and you're alive, and you can breathe, and you have blood running through your body, then you're supposed to be here. You are supposed to be here. There's no, you can say whatever you want, and that's why I don't necessarily agree, with policies and things that are going forth now, because everybody's the same. Everybody is the same, and I think that's what we're trying to get everybody to realize, that we're all the same, and that there is no all of that stuff about chosen people or supreme people or all of that kind of stuff. Those are things that are designed within this matrix, within this paradigm, to separate us and keep us apart, when the thing that should be joining us should be universal oneness. So universal oneness should be everything to us, because we are connected and we are a part of one another. It doesn't all of the other separation and stuff, because at the end of the day, this is what I tell everybody, at the end of the day, when you're born, your soul, you're born an undeveloped soul, pretty much. You're born with this thing, and your soul is the combination of everything that you absorb in as a living human being. And if you're not constantly trying to absorb these things, if you're not trying to absorb um, the things that are necessary to make you a better human being, then you're falling short of what's going on. And that's unfortunate. So no, I do not know Jesus. Jesus is a fictitious character. I'm glad somebody came. Now I don't have to adjust it, but yeah, Jesus doesn't exist. So it's like it and never did. He was created by the 35 councils of the Catholic Church, and one of them being one of the councils of Nicaea. So we know that. And so I'm not going to dumb myself down with that. Not to mention his name means Hail Zeus, because and the letter J, they created the letter J and all of that. So yeah, so it's good. You love me. Thank God I love you too. But you understand what I'm saying? It's like all of these things that people um, try to try to try to do, and to make us unthink or whatever. That's just like, it's a dumbing down thing. Don't dumb me down, because I know too much. you know and if you write something down, that's why I've been telling everybody to apply what you know. Apply the stuff that you know. If you know something to be true, stop going through the cognitive dissonance. So, um, the whole thing, and the Dead Sea Scrolls, all of that stuff. I'm not into books. I'm into spiritual things. Books, all of that stuff is not written in stone, or written in books, or anything like that. And after I've studied all the things that I've studied all those books, and I've never found God in any book that was written by a man. The only when I found God, um, thank you. When I found God by searching within myself. That's why even your scriptures say what? Say that the kingdom of God is within. There's no other place that I know of that I can search for God. And then once I searched within, that's when I found out God. Thank you. I appreciate you. So yeah, so when God, when you're looking for God and you try to search for God and do what you can, but you have to do things that are spiritual. Just reading out of a book, and then being judgmental, or thinking that you're a know-it-all, is not, that's not anything that's nice. And people are not that way. There are 90 there are 9 billion people on the planet. It's cruel to think that everybody should all act the same way, or that everybody would be the same way, or everybody should act one. Everybody is not going to act the same way. Even if you put a bunch of fundamentalist Christian nationalists in a room, if you put a hundred of them in a room, there's still going to be 100 different religions in that room because they're not all going to do and practice everything the exact same way. And it doesn't matter the religion. I don't want to, I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking on them or anything like that, because I'm not. Because these things are, the concepts and the things that we teach are universal. They work for anybody, and for everybody. They don't just work for black people. They don't just work for yellow people. They just don't work for red people. They work for everybody. And the reason why they work is because most of the things that I talk about are the most ancient forms of spirituality. The two most ancient forms of any type of spirituality are going to come out of Africa and then out of Tibet. And why is that? That's because that's the original places that we inhabited. That's where we dwelled. And so, do you think they just went? So you mean to tell me people lived on the planet for all the time that they did, and you mean to tell me, but they had no spiritual connection? They didn't do anything, and nobody knew anything about spirituality until 1619. So you have to be common sense wise with it. You can't just sit up there and be like, oh, well, just because this, that, and the other thing. And then when you go and you study different books, and if you are one of those people that go and you study different books and different spiritual systems and different mystery systems and all of that, as you go through and you find out most of them have the same things in common. And so as a way of being able to say, look, if they all have certain things in common, then you got to start to realize that, hey, these must be true. So that's yeah, mystery systems are okay. For example, in Kemetic spirituality, we talk the three Aset, Osar, and Heru, and then Set being the prototype for the devil, Heru being the prototype for Jesus. Aset and Osar would be like Mary and Joseph or whatever. Okay, so if you look upon, but it's not all. The reason why we say mystery or mythical things is because we can't prove that these people actually existed, and that's why. But the system is based upon their family and the relationships that were developed within their family. So, and especially the system of Mayat, yeah, great, everything. And that's why I always say that if you're on the planet, you're supposed to be here, because even being born, like if you realize the odds of you actually, your entire creation, just the fact that you got created and that you made it here is a miracle in and of itself. When you think about it, there's like billions of sperm cells swimming towards the egg, and it's like, and only one makes it. That's miraculous because you ended up being the one. So so people look at it, and so that's why so that's how come, even this is from Tibetan mystery system, that we say the divine in me sees the divine in you. I recognize your life. I recognize that you exist, that that you have a certain amount of energy, and I respect the energy that you're putting out into the universe. And if my spirit is so connected with yours, we could be kindred spirits. We don't know. But if we don't have any type of relation, if we don't speak, or if we don't know things about each other, and we're scared, like, because that's why they use fear mongering, and it's all greater than being poor. So what are the odds of an individual going to heaven? The odds of, in our system, everybody, pretty much everybody goes to heaven, because what you're doing, first of all, this is another one of those things that I don't necessarily like to talk about all the time, because people, this is like a very touchy subject, but there is no such thing as heaven or hell or purgatory and all of that. And in my study, what I found was that heaven and hell were created by the Borgia popes at a particular time in the church, and they created heaven, hell, and purgatory and all of that in order to make money for the church. So the way it would work, and this is what when they hijacked, they also hijacked confession. So you would go to the Father, you would confess. The Father would, who was supposed to keep your secrets, would go back, take your secrets, and then they would come and uh, they will offer you salvation for a pittance. For, if you pay, well, if you got a relative that's in purgatory, so you pay us and we'll get your relative, or we'll pray your relative out of purgatory, or we'll pray your um, relative out of hell. And then there are some religions that still actually do that, you know. So um, so yeah, so yes, but yeah, exactly. And so really, it's a mindset. Just like we tell everybody, you are Christ. You are the Christos. You are that. That's what you are. But you're also the devil. You're both. It just depends on which side you decide. And like I said, the Native Americans, what they say, what their spiritual thing says, is that they're two wolves, and that the wolf that you feed the most, that's the one that you activate. Because if you feed it, then it manifests. That's the way they describe it. So you have both. You have everything in you. It's inside of you, but it depends on which side you want to unlock, because that's also a universal concept, because the universal concept of balance and everything, because you're not in a true vibrational world. You're not always high. Your vibrations are not always up here, but neither are they always down here either. So that's what I'm saying. So you're trying to get balance, and you're trying to get just so that you're not too high and not too low, but you also at times you want to go to you want to start going to the higher vibrational things. You also will notice that things that are high vibrational are also more difficult to manifest. Low vibrational stuff is easy to manifest, and it's like that on purpose, because when you're young, you need to be able to do things to I just out of straight survival. It's not has really not a lot to do. And then when we start talking about the things with the primordial mother and people like that, that's why. So that's one of the reasons why. But anyway, um, I've got 2 minutes, and I appreciate everybody coming through and just checking me out. And please just stay with me as far as the things that I'm going to be posting coming up. I'm going to post some stuff about different things to do with switching over to different forms of spirituality. And I don't want, seeing the thing is, I never want this stuff to be like it's like a church or a cult, because that's the one thing that I love about spirituality, is the fact that it's individual. It's not one size. Um, it's not. It's not one size fits all. You know. So with higher, they are. You're right. When you're high vibrational, you are rejected. Even the president of the United States is against woke people. Because they don't want you woke, because then they can't deceive you. That's why they don't want you. That's why they don't want you woke, because woke people are are spiritually discerned, and that means that the spirit is going to protect them, and they're going to be able to get through things that other people might not, because those things that are coming from the divine mother, they're going to hit you. every time. And other people are going to be walking around, in a cloud. So, nah, that's not why you're alone. You'll find there'll be opportunities. Trust me. Anyway, gotta go. Gotta get out here. Like yes, this is my time. Anyway.